everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell down below so that you'll never miss another upload. In today's video, I did want to talk about the do's and the don'ts of heat training. So as you all probably know, there are many things you must do in order to keep your hair healthy as a heat trained natural or a straight natural, because of course we use heat. Heat can be damaging, so let's go over these do's and don'ts so that you are able to have a successful heat training journey and to retain more length. So first, don't randomly pick a heat temperature setting. Like some people go in and they say, oh, hey, I'm going to use 450 degrees because that person used 450 degrees. Well, it's all basically going to be determined by your hair texture. So if you have a fine texture, you definitely would not want to go in with 450 degrees because you're just going to cause serious damage on your hair. So there are hair temperature charts that will allow you and guide you to what heat temperature range you should be using on your hair according to your hair's texture. So I love to reference these in my videos. I'll be sure to put one somewhere up on the screen so that you can see and use that as a guide. So for me, I like to do in between 380 to 410. I would never go above 410. That's just not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to cause a bunch of damage on your hair, and you have to remember your hair burns at 450 degrees. So yeah, I don't even with the coarsest hair texture, I don't think 450 degrees Fahrenheit is necessary. But I do see a lot of people use that temperature even if their hair's not even coarse. So you have to be careful with that because you don't want to cause that heat damage and stress and all that bad stuff to your hair. So just be sure to follow the heat temperature hair charts. You'll be perfectly fine if you do. So do make sure that your hair is completely dry before you go in with those hot tools. If your hair is not completely dry, you're basically essentially boiling your hair, which is what we don't want. So that's going to lead you to have very dry, brittle, and damaged hair. I don't know how many shorts videos I've seen, some very horrible ones of people using a flat iron while their hair was soaking wet, and you hear that sizzle, sizzle, sizzle as they're doing it. I'm like, no, please don't do that. Don't do that. That's absolutely crazy. You're going to completely destroy your hair. The elasticity in your hair is just going to be hard to come back from that type of damage. So don't constantly go over the same section of hair over and over again. This is so bad for your hair. If you're doing the proper blowout on your hair, which I always do, I'm sure you see my wash day routines, my soak press routines. I always make sure I get a good blowout on my hair before I go in with my flat iron, because if you don't, your hair's not going to be straight when you go in to do your first pass on the flat iron, and you're going to be tempted to continuously go over that section over and over again, which is going to cause heat damage. So don't do that. Doing a proper blowout is just so necessary because it limits the amount of passes that you do on your hair. For me, I only usually do one pass. Sometimes I'll go with a second pass, but not more than 2 passes. If you're doing more than 2 passes, you did not properly blow dry your hair. And then also taking smaller sections of hair is going to help as well, because it's going to distribute the heat more evenly throughout your hair to get like all of the hair straight, as opposed to taking a bigger section and going over it and you're still seeing that texture in your hair. So proper blowouts, and please do not do more than 2 passes on your hair. So do apply a deep conditioning treatment every wash day that you're going in and you're going to be using heat. Even just in general, if you're not using heat on your hair, we want moisture in our hair. We want our hair to retain moisture. If you're not using those deep conditioning treatments and leaving them things in for at least 15 to 20 minutes, before you're rinsing them out. Make sure you put like a cap on your head, something to generate some heat. Sit under a blow dryer. Make sure you are getting those deep conditioning hair treatments in to retain that moisture in your hair, because using heat on your hair on a regular basis, even once a month, could be damaging. It could dry out your hair. So the deep conditioning treatment is a must. So if you're not using those deep conditioning treatments, then that's going to lead your hair to be very brittle, very dry. You can get breakage, which we don't want because we want to retain that length. Okay, so don't use any type of hot tools when your hair is dirty. That is a absolute no-no. I'm guilty of this. I'm sure we're all guilty of this. You know, trying to go back in and refresh the silk press or add some curls, but our hair's dirty. It's been dirty for like 2 or 3 weeks and we're trying to do that. Don't do that. So essentially, when you do that, when you add heat to dirty hair, you're cooking dirt and buildup into your cuticles, which is what we don't want. And that's gonna cause damage to our hair. So always make sure your hair is clean before you use any type of hot tools on your hair. So do use either a heat protectant or a serum or both. I like to use both. I use the Cheese Silk Infusion, that is a serum. And then I also use the Tresemme Heat Tamer Spray, that's a heat protectant. So I do use both. I just like to use both. That's just me. So using a heat protectant or a serum before you use heat, that's basically going to create a barrier between your hair and the heat. So that is going to limit heat damage, which is what we don't want. My last tip, don't use heat on your hair every day. And I was guilty of doing this back in the day when I was a teenager. I would go in every single day, I'm not kidding you, with heat. And my hair was so damaged. It was always breaking off. It was super dry. I had so many split ends. I always needed to get trims. Like, it was just a mess. Don't ever use heat on your hair on a daily basis. Absolute no-no. You will never retain any length by doing that. So using heat on your hair every single day is going to strip your hair of all its natural oils, and it's going to cause your hair to be very dry and brittle. And of course, it's going to damage your hair. So I mentioned this on my channel several times. I feel like this is such a great tip for us heat training naturals or straight naturals who, you know, want to preserve our style in between wash days, in between heat styling. So Flexi rods is the go-to. It is my absolute go-to. I have every type of Flexi rod, every size. I have the rubber Flexi rods. I have the satin Flexi rods. It's like Flexi rods, Flexi rods. I have jumbo ones, I have small ones, whatever. Get yourself some Flexi rods. That is going to transform your hair in between your silk presses when your hair is looking greasy, when it's looking weighed down, when you want to refresh the silk press. You want to go maybe another few days to a week before you wash your hair. Trust me, Flexi rods will be your best friend. Add a little bit of mousse to your hair. Use the Flexi. I like to use mousse because it dries super fast. Like, you can, you know, add a few Flexi rods in your hair and literally within 1 to 2 hours, your hair is going to be dry. You're going to have a curl to your hair. It's going to look really, really nice. So like right now, my last video I did some wand curls, and then, you know, they started to look kind of old. So I just combed my hair. I moisturized my hair with my melanin leave-in. I added some foam, and then I just added Flexi rods because of course I'm not going to go back in without wand curler with any more additional heat to my hair. I'm going to get another 3 weeks out of my hair before I even wash it with Flexi rods. Trust me, Flexi rods will have you looking good. It will have your hair looking good, bouncy. Please get some Flexi rods. So these were all the tips that I have for today. I hope they helped you out, helped you get a better understanding of what to do and what not to do so that you're able to retain length and have a successful heat training journey. If I missed anything or you have any other do's and don'ts that you want to add, leave them down in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.